We want to be pleasing in your sight. We want to do what you have us to do. Lord, give us as commissioners wisdom. Lord, thank you for each and every individual here tonight, that they are civic minded and they want to be part of the progress here in Blue Ridge and Fannin County. Thank you so much again for all your blessings. And we'll give you the praise and honor for it all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Okay, under unfinished business, we have the approval of the minutes of April 22nd, 2025 regular scheduled board meeting. Commissioner Patterson, any errors or omissions in those minutes?
No, sir. I have none.
Commissioner Surson?
No, sir, Mr. Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I like that, both of them, James, second something, right?
We're gonna have to watch it.
He's over tonight.
He's trying to slide something in on us. Have to slow things down.
Thank you. Sir. All right, so that brings us to new business, and it's unfinished. Number one under that is we have board discussion action. This is a variance request from Darcy and Carrie Bloodworth to build a two-car garage storage building 25 feet to 30 feet from the center line and to be 10 feet from the north property line of Overlook Drive. Is there anyone here that's for this variance?
I'm Kerry Bloodworth.
Okay. Is there anyone here that opposes this variance? Okay. So, Mr. Bloodworth, and obviously I'm not gonna speak for the other two, but one thing that, when I was looking up, you got houses fairly close on the other side of that property line, correct?
Yes,
The
that
Hudson.
house, the Hudson's house
Yeah.
is very close to that property.
So, ever since I've been here, and it seems like if it's been less than 15 feet from that line, we've asked that, maybe the neighbor, would give us a letter of consent, just to be respectful of your neighbor, since it is so close.
Right.
And, I was just curious if you think that would be, a possibility that Mr. and Ms. Hudson would do that for you.
I could talk to them, I'm sure that they would, because they're the ones that actually gave me the quit claim for part of the property that was there as well.
Okay.
So they're good neighbors, I watch out for their house, so
Gotcha.
there won't be a problem.
Other than that, I really, personally, I didn't have a problem with it. I just, I feel Mr. and Ms. Hudson may sell at some point in time and it'll be that close. It would probably benefit us both if we had, an approval letter from the neighbor saying, hey, yeah, that's fine, it's 10 feet from the property line.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, that won't be a problem, I can get a letter from them.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and discuss.
No, let's get it.
You wanna table it?
If we might.
That might delay it though.
It would delay it, yes, sir, it would delay it till, if you can get it, ASAP, obviously we would put it on our next meeting in 2 weeks, to be able to do that.
I'm under a time crunch now because it's taken so long, because when the people did the original survey of the property 20 years ago, when the property was sold, they messed up the survey. And I have actually purchased the building that I'm gonna be putting in there, and I've got till what is today? I've got till the 23rd to get approval from these people, or show them pictures that my property is ready for them to start putting to build the building, not to put it in, but to start making the building. Cause it's gonna be a metal skeleton. If I don't have my approval done by the 23rd, then they're gonna forfeit my down payment, and I'm gonna have to move on. So I can get you the letter, but I request that, you go ahead and approve the variance, and I can have you the letter within just a couple of days.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you get that letter up here And then we might make a decision on approving it.
We
Whenever
can
the
do it
chairman,
on condition.
on
We can-
condition that he brings that letter to the chairman.
Sure.
All right. So do you suppose today's Tuesday, you suppose you can have that letter by Friday?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can it be does it have to be a signed letter mailed to up here for me? Because they live in Mississippi. I mean, how do you want this format letter to be done?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what if he, had these people to call you?
That would be fine. Maybe just have them call me tomorrow or send an email.
Usually
They
if
can
they
have it.
notarize it,
Mhm.
they can send it by email if it's notarized.
They could do
And
that.
they should be able to get it notarized anywhere, like a bank or something.
Have it notarized and just email it to us, and I can give you my email address.
I mean, if that's what I've got to do, I mean, that's what I've got to do, but like I said, I've got till the 23rd or I'm gonna lose my down payment and my price of the building's gonna go way up. I'm putting in a metal frame building, but it's not gonna be a metal building.
Well, and obviously I understand your time constraints and everything like that, but, you know, unfortunately, like we say, you know, I can build as close to a line as I want to, and these guys may just verbally say it's fine, but then they sell, and then all of a sudden you have issues with your next neighbor that comes in, and that happens quite often.
Sure.
And I know you don't know that because you're not dealing with it here, but we do have those issues here in that county, where something has been approved 10 years ago, all of a sudden it's changed hands, and now it's 10 feet from the property line, and their house is just 20 feet next to it, and it, you know, a lot of folks, even though they see it, it's become an issue.
I'll get in touch with them, but the only variance that's gonna be on that side of the property is gonna be right at the edge of the building. It's not gonna be completely down the property
No,
line.
I get it, but if it's 10 feet from the property line, you see what I'm saying?
I do.
That's my concern, is all it is. And,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
I'm just concerned that the Hudson's might be out of town or something like that. It might be difficult for them to get something notarized like today or tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll
How
get.
about if I had them call you right now?
Well, I couldn't do it right now. That's a good idea, but,
But if they can call you tomorrow and express their intent,
have them call me tomorrow.
Okay,
And we can discuss that, and you have until the 23rd?
yeah, I've got to have my grading completed and the pad poured and have pictures sent to them by the 23rd.
Okay, all right.
and of course, they won't do anything without it.
Have them call me tomorrow, and if,
This shouldn't be a problem.
yeah, just, you can look up online, get her number, just call me tomorrow. If I'm not in office for some reason, leave me a message, and I'll call right back. We're
Okay.
glad to do that,
All right.
and we'll see if we can work this out, so.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
So gentlemen, that being said, I would make a motion to approve this variance request pending, approval from the neighbors in a, either a letter form or email form, you know, where something is notified, or notarized, I'm sorry. But I'd make a motion to do that and ask for a second.
I'll second it. Yeah, but I also, I guess, yeah, okay, all right.
You okay with it?
Yeah.
Just be pending then.
Well, Jamie will make the decision, the chairman will make the decision on that. So as long as we're giving, he feels good about it, I'll be good with it.
Well, that could be, you know, we would approve it pending that.
But we have to have something in writing also still, you know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
county.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, they can have it notarized and emailed to us, and that would be.
Right, but I feel fine as long as you're talking to those people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
so we good with that?
That's good, I'll have them call you tomorrow, and then I'll talk to them and have them put something in writing, get it notarized, and I'll have it emailed or mailed up here, one or the other. Which would you prefer?
All right, you can email it, will be fine, and we can print it off and stick it in the file with it,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
All right,
So the variance will be approved as soon as you have the conversation, correct?
as soon as we get the notarized,
Oh, as soon
in
as
other
you
words,
get
we
notarized.
will have a conversation,
Right,
and as quick as they can get get a piece of paper notarized, saying they approve that, and email it to me, we can move forward. And I'll be glad to call you as quick as that happens as well.
okay.
So, in other words, I believe we've got your number down here, or they may have it in the
Yeah, my
bill.
number is on the variance request.
Okay, gotcha, all right. I got it right here, 4 numbers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, okay. brings us down to,
Jamie?
yes, sir.
I mean, technicality, we all have to vote.
We gotta vote on
Oh,
it.
we
Call
have,
for
I
a vote.
second it.
oh, all in favor?
Aye.
My bad. Say no, we
We
got
went
you
through
too.
everything.
No, I
Technicality.
get it. Number two, we have a board discussion action, it's a variance request from Phil and Peggy Joyner to build a garage 40 feet from the center of Stewart Mountain Road. Is there anybody here in favor of this variance request? Anybody here opposes?
I'll watch out for you.
Okay. Gentlemen looked at, when I took a look at this one, everything seemed to be fine on that. Like we do with every variance request, I always refer to, Keith Nicholson for guidance. He was fine with this one as well, so, any discussion on this?
No, sir, I have none.
Like I said, it's fairly sloped,
Yep.
the reason for the variance. I don't have any questions.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve this variance request and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number three. We have a variance request from Daniel and Heather Hoffman to build a one-bedroom, one-bath, 600 square foot home 15 feet from Black Creek Circle. Is anybody here to, Sir? Okay. Is anybody here that opposes this? Okay. All right, so we, went out and took a look at this. Obviously, this, 15 feet from Black Creek Circle, there are other properties that are, similar to that. With that being, the way it was, we ended up, talking to, Mr. Nicholson. I also talked to, Shannon Bradford, in regard to this too, because I know there might have been some septic, issues out there as well. And I think he has given you a, clear directions, looks like, right? Yes, sir. Okay. So, gentlemen, any question on this one?
No, sir, just, well, that 15 foot, is that from the,
Edge of the road?
Edge. Yeah, I looked up the IFC requirements for fire trucks. Obviously, it's a wooded road, private road, so it shouldn't be an issue, but 15 feet from the edge.
You can go back, you want pages there, it's got some pictures of the actual road and stuff.
okay.
You can see there is.
Yeah. What was the septic issue?
The rockiness and steepness of the slope, so we had to do a drip system.
Okay.
Okay, any questions, any,
No, good.
anything?
I'm fine, Chairman.
All right. I'm sure Mr. Brown will come back in and make sure everything is installed properly.
He will.
That being said, I'll, make a motion to approve this variance request, I'll ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here. John Leggett, MS Benefits Group. Got about 19 pages, but I'm not gonna bore you to death on all these. I'll go through them fairly quickly. There's a point to all of them. So if you'll start on slide 2, this is, always like to recap what we did last year. So last year, as you know, we changed from United Healthcare to Anthem. We were looking at just over a 24% increase from United Healthcare. The county offered 2 plans to the employees, and we ended up changing to Anthem and settled on just over a 5% increase and really improved the plans for the employees and dropped it down to 1 plan. So that's where we're at now, is with Anthem, and that's what's up for renewal this year. We also changed the dental and vision from United Healthcare to Anthem. The next slide is, you know, when we're getting ready for renewal, and of course we handle the marketing, we're an independent broker, so we work with all the carriers, but when we're working on the renewal, and you have a change last year, July 1st, went to Anthem, there's missing information, so we go back to the old carrier, United Healthcare, and we get those last months of claims data and provide that to the new carrier, Anthem, to help with the renewal. Well, the point of this slide is kind of show you, when you notice the April, May, and June at the bottom with the red box around it, if you just notice the percentages out to the right, that's the loss ratio. It's claims versus premium. Target is generally around 80%, and you can see for those last 3 months, we had some significant claims come in, and we were in, gosh, right at 200,000, or 200%, 206%, 206%, and 271. So closed out the year with United Healthcare with some significant claims. And if you go to the next slide, it'll show you the claims data for the current year on slide 4 with Anthem. This is July 24 through March. And again, if you look at, I was focused on the loss ratio, bottom right, you'll see it's 121%. Remember, I said that the expected number they like to see, or the target's 80, even 85%. So since July of last year through March of this year, the county spent in premium just under 2.4, and Anthem paid out almost 2.9. Not the ratio we like to see. So knowing that this was out there, and you'll go, we'll get into the renewal. One point on the next slide I wanted to show this slide is this.
Could you give us the page number on that?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Could you-
Slide 4. Slide 4 was, I focused on the loss ratio and then
Okay.
comparing the premium to claims. Obviously, Anthem paid out a lot more in claims than premium. That's why you see that 121% loss ratio.
Mhm.
Any questions there? Feel free to just stop me as I go through this.
I think this line will reference the page number.
Okay.
So the next slide is just to show these were the 2 plans that we had with United Healthcare last year. Again, we've gone down to 1 plan this year. You see up top, you'll see under the high deductible health plan, we had 85 employees enrolled, and you'll see the 85 there, and we had 107 enrolled under the traditional plan. And then down below, you can see where the deductions were. So you had 61 employees paying right at 21 a paycheck, 12 paying 77, and 34 paying 87. On the other plan, the high deductible health plan, the county was paying 100% of the plan. So it was no cost to employees, and you see the deductions there for family, employee plus 1 and family. So that was last year. That was the plan that we changed from, and when we left United Healthcare and went to Anthem. So the next slide is the initial. Don't panic yet. The initial where Anthem came out. So we got with Anthem, and they released the initial renewal at a 39% increase, and we said, well, that's obviously not going to work. And the reason for showing you the claims data is why, this is why they are calling for this increase. So obviously a 39% increase, holding the employee deductions, that would have been just under a $1.4 million increase to the county, which is, again, not doable. So if you'll go to the next slide, you can see where we settled with Anthem and what we're looking at, which is slide 7. So we pushed back on Anthem because we did get competitive data, and I'll show you that here in a minute. We got Anthem to come down to a 26% increase and to issue a first month admin credit of $129,000, which you see below in green. So when it's in looking at our renewal option, if the county were to renew, hold employee deductions, and factor in the one-time credit, we'd be looking at a 24% increase, or about $812,000. That is still higher than we wanted, obviously, and hard to sustain that type of increase. So we went to Anthem, we said, okay, we want an alternate plan option. And that's what you see to the right, is the alternate plan option, which is increasing the deductible, the co-pays for doctor visits, primary specialist, and ER, and then the out-of-pocket. We also added a deductible for prescription drugs, but only for tier 2, 3, and 4. The generic low-cost drug would still just be a $10 copay, which is about 85–90% of drugs that are filled. And by doing that, we got the increase down to just under 15%. So this would be the option if we said, you know what, we're gonna continue to offer one plan, and we're gonna offer that alternate plan option. All employees will be enrolled in the same plan. That's what we'd be looking at on slide 7.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
We're going through this pretty fast, and you know, it's like passing me by on some of this. So, you just said generic drugs. So, in other words, we can get the generic drugs and not like a name brand or something?
So with the RX deductible, employees would have to pay the first $250 for any drugs that were to fall under tier 2, 3, or 4. Tier 2 drugs would be the name brand. They would still be covered, but if you add a deductible onto that, then you would be looking at the total cost until that $250 was met, and then the employees would pay 40, or members would pay 40 or 140, which is where they're at now. But this isn't what we're recommending. So what we're recommending, and I'm getting to, is offering, going back to a dual option where we have 2 plans. So employees will have a choice. They'll have a plan that does not have a deductible that matches exactly where we're at now, or they can elect the plan that has that $250 deductible for drugs. Now, like I said, 90% of the drugs that are filled are generic under the plan. So it's obviously the bulk of the drugs. And I've got a summary that'll summarize all this too as well. So the next option is, if we do the dual option and we keep the employee deductions the same for the new plan, so employees would still see the county paying 100% of their costs. There'd be no change in employee plus one or employee plus family. And those employees that wanted the better plan would go to $15.73 a paycheck for single, $59.57 for employee plus dependent, and $85.44 if they wanted family coverage. And the point of showing the United Healthcare last year is those deductions are actually still lower than what was offered last year for the buyout plan, what the 107 employees were paying.
So it was paying $21 basically for
Correct.
single.
Correct.
And this one's still $15.73.
Correct. And under this option, you know, the employees that, you know, maybe just take generic meds, don't really have a lot of health conditions, don't use the plan that often, a lot of them would say, you know what, I'll take the plan that's at no cost. And the ones that don't want a deductible, the better plan would pay the difference. It's cost neutral to the county, so the county's contributing the same amount towards each plan. It's just a matter of, if you want the better plan, you pay the difference. That's how this model will be set up. So that gets it down to that just under 15% with both plans. Our next option is only increasing the deductions under the alternate, on page 9, only increasing the deductions for employee plus one or family for the new plan. And that gets it down just about another couple percentage points, down to just under 14%. So that's the only tweak you see on slide 9 compared to slide 8 is you'll see the yellow where the 3120 and the 4711. So employees would see an increase there if we went with that option. And then last, on our Anthem renewal, slide 10, this is changing the employee deductions to $10 a paycheck for the alternate plan. So the county no longer pay 100% of the coverage for employees. Employees will pay $10 every paycheck every week, $42.50 for employee plus one, and $66.25 for employee plus family. And then if you see the deductions, if they wanted the better plan option there, and that gets the increase all the way down to below 10, right at 9.5%, about $320,000. next slide is where Cigna came in. So, you know, we did a full market review. We looked at potentially going self-funded. We went back to United Healthcare. We asked Aetna for a proposal, and either they declined or were not competitive. And the most competitive proposal we got back was from Cigna. And so that's what you're seeing here. This is the proposal we used to push back on Anthem. Remember Anthem, you know, the claims hadn't been great with them, so they were trying to get a 39% increase. We got it down to where there's some reasonable options here with Anthem. But Cigna, when you look at Cigna, their apples to apples plan is about 16%, and their alternate plan is about 9%. So really right on top of what we're looking at with Anthem. Now that does include holding the deductions, but we really feel that it's in the best interest of the county and the employees to renew with Anthem, because we were with United Healthcare last year, we went to Anthem this year, and this would obviously be 3 years in a row with a different carrier. So it definitely makes sense if you can get the numbers there to stay with Anthem. I think everyone's been happy with them. And we're also hoping that the claims are gonna improve. Some of the high cost claimants have been out there. We've seen the most 2 recent months of data we've seen have improved and dropped below that 100%. So claims tend to be trending the right way. And we hope that is the case, that continues. And, you know, by making a change, you never know what that first year renewal would look like next year. But we'll have more data with Anthem. We'd obviously have 2 years with them.
Zach, how you feel about it when you use your insurance?
I'm not on your insurance.
You're not? Dave?
I don't ever use mine.
Eddie?
I have no issues.
You got issues?
I've never had any issues. I actually I have very little employees come to me and complain about their insurance. And if they do, it's a very easy fix. So it's just, you know, dealing with cards, and it might be a physician that's just not getting approval, saying that they have coverage, but it's a very simple fix. But, I don't think anybody's really had any issues with Anthem. I think it would
And
be.
I don't hear any complaints either.
Yeah.
That's me, I don't either. Like, anything like that.
It's generally 15 to 20% of your members are driving 80% of claims. So that's why in a room, I don't use that, because that's, most of the people are not. It's our high cost claimants, some of the specialty drugs that are out there. Just a small percentage of employees with those big claims, and they can make the difference between a good year and a bad year. And you hope that when they're medical claims, that someone had a procedure, you know, they had to go through something, but they're good, and that's all behind them, and that large claim has fallen off. And that's what it looks like. But you definitely don't, I would never recommend changing 3 years in a row if you can't help it. Sometimes, you know, if I was standing here and Anthem didn't budge, we'd obviously be looking at talking about going to Cigna, but we did get them down to a little bit more reasonable number.
So another question, so let's just say we had a great year,
Mhm.
all right, we met that 85% threshold. That means next year they'll have a reduction, because, and the reason I say that, you're gonna beat us to death when things are going bad, or you're gonna help us out when it's good.
For sure. Now, 85% maybe not, but I've seen years where, let's say our claims ran at 55%. You better believe we're gonna get a reduction, because we're gonna go to market. We had Gilmer County a couple of years ago to get a 15% reduction. So it does happen. And I do think that the best model, and we'll continue to look at it every year, it is the self-insured model. I know the county self-insured years ago. That's where a lot of our clients your size are going, because you have more control over things, like your high-cost drugs. There's programs out there that we can implement, and they do a better job of managing claims and making sure that, you know, that they're not overpaying, if you will. These big insurance companies, they just are so big that they can't monitor the claims like a TPA can do, and that's kind of how they sell themselves. But it really comes down to the pharmacy piece and what you can do there. We've had a lot of clients implement a program that has cut the pharmacy spend in half. So we'll continue to look at it. It may be a day, but this year we looked, and there were no stop-loss carriers that would touch us, so Cigna was our best alternate option, but we felt Anthem's probably the best to stay with it. Next slide just shows, slide 12 is, again, Cigna. If we were to go to dual option, again, it's right on top of Anthem, so it doesn't based on where we have the numbers, it doesn't make sense to go that route, my recommendations. Slide 13 is a benchmark. We put Fannin County on here. This is your current rates. This kind of shows you where your premiums are now compared to all average, and the average is about 56 local governments in Georgia, 26 counties, 30 cities. You can see the average premium, what the deductions look like, and then the plan design. So you guys have a very competitive plan here, and your rates as they are now are very competitive. And if you even go further to the right, SHBP stands for State Health Benefit Program. This would be, your state employees, your teachers. You can see what a state employee has to pay there, $158 a month for their coverage. So still very competitive when you look at, our benchmark, and especially against the state benefit program. All right, next slide is our dental. We did receive a increase in the dental just over 5%, and so that would be an annual increase of about $7,700, and keeping that with Anthem, which we definitely want to do, and holding the employee deductions, so no change to the employees on those deductions. So we recommend renewing with Anthem, obviously, on the dental, and the vision did not change, which is on slide 15. So no change for that. That is voluntary, and no change. We're in a rate guarantee through next year, actually. On slide 16, we did get an increase on the basic life, so we went to market there. And really, if we had gone with Cigna, if Cigna had been our carrier of choice, we would have recommended moving to One America. But because we're going to Anthem's sold their life and disability to the Standard, so they have, I guess you can call it some type of partnership with them. And so we got them to get more aggressive on your medical renewal by promising that we'd move the life and disability to the Standard. Now the Standard actually matched where One America's rates are, so it's a decrease. So instead of a 9% increase, we're looking at about a 55% decrease. The county's annual cost for the basic life is just over $14,000. It would go to just under $6,500. So we recommend changing the life and disability to the Standard, and that is the basically the $20,000 full-time employees get.
So you recommend us changing that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And again, I've got it all summarized, so we don't have to go back to this, make it easy. Slide 17 and 18, again, this is the short-term and long-term disability that's voluntary. They actually, the Standard match the voluntary disability rates there, so employees will not see a change on the short term, and they're slightly lower on slide 18 on the long term. So employees would see a decrease there. This is voluntary, again, not county paid, but this would all be part of the package with Standard. And slide 19 is, again, the summary of everything. When we look at where we're currently at from a budget standpoint, based on current enrollment, the county's overall spend is just over 3.5. With a 23% increase, had we renewed as is with Anthem, we would have seen that number go to $4,350,000, or a 23% increase. That's about $812,000. Now keep in mind, when we looked at the initial renewal, it was right at 1.4 million. So we obviously got them to come down significantly there. And as you go across, we don't really have to go through all the options again. We can just talk about the recommended option. Option 5, that is the one where the employees would pay $10 a paycheck, and we'll go to 2 plans. So basically option 5, renew with Anthem, add the alternative plan, increase the deductions, go with dual option. Employees pay $10 a paycheck for that plan, and that gets the increase, when it's all said and done, down to 9%, or $319,000. So it's about right at $1.1 million lower than where Anthem came out the gate with. That is the recommended option based on the meetings we've had.
What is an average employee paying?
For single coverage right now, the employee isn't paying anything.
Right.
And we're recommending going up to $10.
So what will they pay?
$10.
That's it?
Yes.
For single coverage.
For single
So this is with dental, eye, and medical.
So dental and vision deductions would not change.
They're
so
not gonna change.
It wouldn't change what they're paying now.
Health will though.
Health, well,
And
you have,
prescription.
well, again, under option 5, if an employee wants the plan that doesn't have a deductible on the prescription, they would pay $25.73 paycheck versus 10. If they say, you know what, my drug's generic, I go to the doctor a couple times a year, I don't really have, much of a health concern. For me, I'd rather save the $15, I'll take the new alternate plan and I'll pay the $10.
Okay.
I didn't mention it on the benchmark, but, as it stands today, the county's paying 100% of the employee costs, right? When we look at the average, on average across the board, it's about 95% is what most government employers are contributing. So the county would still be paying above that 95%, it just wouldn't be 100% any longer.
Okay.
Is this something we can ponder on until the next meeting? I mean, I know it's gonna be pushing it close, but, I just feel we,
I don't have a,
well,
I mean, I just want the employees to have the best insurance they can have and the coverage they need for their families at a good cost. Because, I mean, you try to make a living, working for government.
yeah.
I mean,
Benefits is a big part of it.
you dang gone right it
It's
is.
part of your compensation.
Personally, I do not mind having to pay a little bit more, knowing that I have very good coverage, and I have been very happy with Anthem. So I personally don't care to pay a little bit more to keep Anthem. And I've had employees tell me, some of the employees that are paying the nothing, the zero, like, they don't mind if they would have to pay $10, $15, $20, just knowing that they've got good coverage.
Okay. That's the way I feel.
Mr. Manager?
I think option 5 is good.
Yeah. But now on that standard, we're gonna change from United to.
Correct.
To standard.
You'll be changing from United, option 5 recommends changing to the standard. And that will, kind of skimmed over, or I didn't say this, but the voluntary life employees are eligible for it. They will get that for this open enrollment. They would be able to enroll in coverage up to $150,000 with no questions asked, and $50,000 on their spouse. So when you change carriers, they'll do a one-time open enrollment. So it's a big benefit. If someone had tried to enroll, and they had maybe diabetes or something, and they were declined, they can get it now. Anybody that wants the life insurance will be able to sign up, no questions asked during open enrollment. So that's a benefit. It's a change in it.
Well, that's good for them.
And there's, it does include the AD&D, but yeah, so definitely a good benefit.
What's the cost on that?
The cost, so the way we have it broken down is the cost, so we have, these are the rates, employee weekly cost, I think this is for 50,000. So it's a age bracket cost, so based on your age, the rate is 20, anybody 29 and under pays the same cost. It's supplemental term life.
Yeah.
And so 30 to 34 has a cost, so $1.70, $1.87 per paycheck. For someone who is 30 to 34, $1.87 as you get older, and that 35 to 39 range, $2.22. It's group supplemental term, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than most people will be able to go out and buy on the street.
And that coverage is, what's in mind of that again? Is
So
150?
they can choose up to 150,000 in increments of 10,000.
Okay.
150 is just the maximum someone can take. They may say, I don't need that much, I'll take 20.
Okay, I'm good.
Any other discussion on this?
No.
I know it's a lot to go through in a meeting like this.
Well, you just, I just look at, what people are, when they get their checks, that they can still afford their groceries and their
Right.
house payments and their, so I wanna give them good coverage, but I also want them to make a living, that's why I asked the sheriff and Zach and y'all, about your employees if you've had any complaints. So, but I understand what you're saying on that. For good coverage and for my family, I'd do the same.
I think we kind of talked about it, and if you were to poll the employees, would you
Yeah,
rather
you-
pay 10 or move
Yeah.
to Cigna? I think
So-
everybody would stick with Anthem.
So, are you gonna be back next year to tell us that we're gonna be having to negotiate with these people?
I'm gonna be back next year to tell you you're getting a 20% decrease.
I'll have that.
We heard it on there. We gotta
You know, like I said, hopefully the claims improve, but I mean, you see how this works. Like, oh, it's calling for a 39% increase. No, that's not happening. So we go to market, we push back. I represent Fannin County, not the insurance companies. You know, we're an independent broker. So our goal is to get it down to where you guys can afford it. We need to offer your employees a comprehensive package that they can afford, the county can afford. So, you know, we do this market review every year.
Okay.
Hopefully claims are improved and we'll get a good renewal next year.
That's good.
I think, just so we know, when they come up with that number, I told John, I said, we'll come back at 7%. We'll go back at 7%, so to come down from 39
Yes.
to 9,
And we pushed hard on them. I mean,
That's
you know,
and I appreciate the work.
Cigna was given that credit, and Anthem said, we'll give $129,000 away. That helps. Well, keep coming, keep coming. Yeah, so, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sounds like, we don't have to vote on this, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Well, that being said, I'll make a motion to go with the recommended option, which is option 5. And, I'll ask for a second.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
What about the standard thing?
That's part of
That's
it.
part of it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You want to hang out, you're more than welcome to, but I know you gotta drive.
Got a little bit of drive.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the hard work.
Yes,
Thank you.
See y'all soon.
All right, so number 5 is the board discussion action. We have Fannin County alcohol license applications of Careth House Cellars, LLC DBA Careth House Cellars. Is anybody here for this?
Scott Simon.
All right. I'm sure your name was Scott.
Scott Simon, S-I-M-O-N.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about Careth House Cellars.
Certainly,
Mr. Simon.
Careth House Cellars it's a farm winery. It's under our company called Careth House. Careth House is when Elijah went down to rest by the river, trying to create a place of rest. So the vision's a little bit bigger. The winery is first, and then we want to be able to build cottages where you can come and stay the weekend, take bath, relax, and enjoy the beautiful area up there in Morganton. The Careth House Cellars is size, I believe it's 1,800 square foot building. It has a production room where we'll make wine grown on our property, as well as wine or grapes that we have purchased throughout Georgia area. So really pulling in the Georgia experience, North Georgia mountain experience. Acreage for the vineyard is about 6.5 acres. The winery itself, as far as the tasting room, it's rather small. We wanted to go from a proof of concept. Is what we're trying to offer, is it something that can be, is what the community is looking for, that people come into Blue Ridge, they want to experience that experience. It's a little bit further out than most of the other wineries that are around. So
Where
we're seeing,
actually is it?
excuse me?
I know Morganton, but where actually is it?
Morganton, at Maple Grove Road, so
Okay.
northeast above the lake.
Okay,
Lost my train of thought.
6.5 acres?
6.5 acres, yes, sir. 6.5 acres of vineyard that we're putting in. But that's pretty much the concept of it.
Ms. Dawes, when you were looking over the paperwork, anything strike you as,
No, sir. I mean, for a winery, they meet the requirements. The brewery would have to, if they decide to go that route at a later point in time, they'll have to come back in because ours are all tied, or primarily tied to food sales. But, yeah, that's something we have to look at. The farm winery, they've met all the requirements.
like Sheriff signed off on, and so did our fire chief, as far as that goes. Gentlemen, any discussion on this?
No.
You're not gonna be doing all of it's gonna be out there.
Yes, sir.
Nothing in town, no.
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, no other discussions, gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion to approve this.
I'll make that motion.
I'll ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you,
All right,
gentlemen.
sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, number 6, we have board discussion actions. This is Fannin County Director Eddie O'Neill regarding the additional parking at Tomwood Park. I almost like the sounds of that, additional parking.
Well, as you know, if you've been there, it's, there's not enough adequate parking, there for sure, but, got a proposal to add 90 to 100 parking spots out there. I got a quote from Johnson Paving for $96,000. That would be a splash project for us, but we have to do something to alleviate the parking issue. We have people parking anywhere a vehicle can pull to, so,
Jobs out there. Have to come out of the squad.
it'll be my splash fund, correct? And we're trying to get it, to get started, get it done, especially before all the tournaments hit. It is disastrous then, so,
When are they gonna start up?
you say, okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this, it's a good problem to have.
It is a great problem.
That just shows you how many people are, taking advantage of our parks and rec. And, I'll say it's a testament to you, how you brought it up to be what it is. Very, very thankful.
We just outgrown the parking.
That happens. Again, it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem. Yes.
Gentlemen, any discussion on that?
No, sir.
I have none.
I'll, make a motion to approve $96,000 out of SPOS to create 90 to 100 more parking areas at Tomwood Park. Make that motion, ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ed.
Next, we have our Fannin County Sheriff, Dane Kirby, regarding the purchase of equipment.
All right. Hope you got your glasses on, Glenn, that's small numbers.
Small print or
Small print or
numbers?
small numbers?
Small print,
Oh.
yeah.
There's been bifocals out here.
Here. Here. Two deals, I've got two deals. These are requests out of Public Safety SPOS. Let's do the Eagle Advantage Solutions first, this paper here. Again, this is all technology problems that I'm having. The world is just leaving me behind technology-wise. And it's a real chore to try to keep up, but, this is upgrades basically to our software, this Eagle Advantage Solutions paper that you see here. We run, our records management system, which is Eagle, where we do all of our reports and keep all of our records. We run that on our mobile, in-car computers. So the guys can do reports and have access to other things in the field instead of having to come to the office to do it. We did that a couple of years ago here. What we didn't do at that time, because of the cost of it, was we did not integrate that system to incorporate GCIC and to be able to integrate all that information that we get there into our records management system. because we didn't want to spend the money. It's got to the point that we're gonna have to. If y'all ever listen to the radio, the sheriff's band radio, you're constantly hearing deputies running driver's license and tags and VINs. And it's just, the radio traffic is just overwhelming sometimes. And what this will enable us to do, they can run that stuff in their cars now, but what they can't do is they don't get the CAD information and they can't integrate it into the records management system, so they have to run it over the radio to get dispatch to email it to them, so they've got what they need. It's the newfangled way of doing things. I don't think anybody carries an ink pen anymore. But anyway, right now we're operating a system called InterOps. And InterOps is the avenue that we use to be able to run driver's license information and motor vehicle information through our mobile terminals in our car. So when we adopt it's not compatible with our records management system. The two do not jive, they don't integrate. So that's the reason that we're having to switch or need to switch to this Eagle system, is because it does integrate with our system. We pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $12,000 a year to InterOps to stay updated with them. That's their fee every year, their software fee and their upgrades fee, and what do they call it, service fees, whatever it is. But anyway, we'll be able to do away with it. And when we go with this Eagle program, it'll be about an $11,000 fee every year. So those two right there will wash. The annual fee will wash. This is a 5-year deal. The reason I'm here tonight is because we have an upfront cost for equipment that we have to pay to get our foot in the door of $57,000. You'll see that on the second page there. And you'll also see the annual figure that we have to pay, the total support for the first year, that $11,740. It's already included in that $57,000 figure. So
And they're gonna charge you $2,100 for training for those 2 days.
yeah, I'd say they probably will. Where's that at?
Down there at the bottom.
First
Yeah.
page.
So they're gonna sell us $55,000 worth of equipment, and they won't charge you for training on it.
Yeah, they do. They sure
About
do.
that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, buddy, I tell you what, everything that we get into now, you have to be trained on. I'm fixing to talk to you about it again right here in just a minute. But there has to be they can't just send you this stuff and say, here.
Well, no,
You've got to be shown.
I understand training
Yeah,
me
I
on
know.
it, but you're gonna charge me, and I'm gonna send you
I know it.
$55,000 to
That's
buy it,
exactly
you know?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that is our proposal, and this is a request out of SLOSS Public Safety, to be able to do this one. And we've already got the money in our budget for the annual fee for the upcoming years. It's included the first year, so we're good for a year already with that figure. We won't have to increase anything to maintain this from year to year.
Is that what was happening up there? I asked you the other day, they up there.
Installing the equipment in the vehicles, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, well, before we move on to the second one, let's, you have any discussion on Eagle Managed Solutions?
No, sir.
I have none.
All right, I'll ask for a motion, out of public safety loss to pay $57,565.53 as a startup cost for Eagle Managed Solutions. I'll ask for that motion.
Make that motion.
I'll ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, on to number 2, this Axon Enterprises Incorporated is the company. We're to the point we're gonna have to replace our tasers. We've got 38 tasers, throughout our office. Everybody that's in that holds the power of arrest, plus the detention officers, carry tasers. Everybody knows the life-saving benefits of tasers. But anyway, they're just a necessary way of doing business for us. But anyway, we've not upgraded, with the exception of replacing one that went down every now and then. We've not done anything with our tasers since 2009. So we've got pretty good life out of what we've used, but we're starting to have failures. They tried to deploy a taser the other day, and when they pulled the trigger, the front doors just fell off the gun and fell on the ground, and nothing came out. So they ended up in a fist fight. And then they've had two other deployments that have failed. I know one of them, there was only one of the probes fired instead of two, and the other one was similar along those same lines. But this was something that I was wanting to put off until next year, but you know, based on that information, I can't really in good conscience do that. We also looked at doing a combination deal with Axon that included the first presentation I had, that had that and the all of the hold on, I just told you a fib.
What?
They're not doing this up there in our cars right now. They're doing the upgrades to our
Yeah, that was something.
to our body cams and car cameras.
Yeah.
Is what that is. I've got so much going on, I can't keep it all straight. So I apologize for that. They're not doing this up there right now. This is not approved until tonight.
Okay.
So they're doing the deal that I approved the last time I was here.
Okay.
But anyway, we looked at doing a combination deal with Axon, and it was in the $800,000 range, but it incorporated the tasers and the video storage is what we were here talking about the last time.
Yeah.
It incorporated all that together, but just it's too rich for my blood. So we did what we did with the video storage last month, and now we're doing the mobile stuff with Eagle. But it got to the point that we can't wait till next year to replace our tasers. So we went back to Axon with nothing except the taser deal. 38 tasers with everything that comes with them. They're basically, the units belong to them. Any warranty work or anything that needs to be done on them is covered. All the batteries are covered. All the cartridges are covered. Everything to do with the tasers are covered. The certifications are covered. There has to be a certification because it's a totally different kind of deal. Johnny, you know a little about tasers, but the taser that you buy now has got 10 shots in it.
Yeah.
And you have to fire each one of them individually. So if you're gonna tase a man with the old tasers that we come up with, you fired it one time and it shot 2 prongs and you had a connection. Well, these new tasers, you have to fire one and put it where you want it, you have to fire 2 and put it where you want it.
That's better.
In certain circumstances, it will be, yeah, better. I can see how it might not be as good, especially if
So
you're in a hurry.
it don't have the, I guess it's separate. It
You can
fires-
spread those darts out however far you want them.
That's better.
It is better. Now, that part of it is better. You can shoot up to 4 darts at one
Wow.
time. So the taser technology has really moved on down the road.
So is this group here, are they gonna cover those cartridges?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all included in this. They came to us initially when they quoted this with us. They came in at $193,000, and that's for 38 tasers and for them to own them and maintain them for 5 years.
But they also
That's
have-
about the life of the taser.
And it also has the, like the video thing with it too, don't it?
You know, I'm not sure.
I think it
I
does.
don't know if they do or not. I'd have to go through this quote. The thing, print on here's so fine, I can't read it without my
I
glasses.
think it does.
But we got them down. Jamie's negotiating skills worked, and we got them down to $185,000. That's what we came back at them at. And when they sent us this new quote, they said, okay, we'll do it. And the way they worked it out came out to 184 point something. So they're right on the mark there. And we offered to pay it all up front instead of breaking it down. They had it broke down $12,000 the first year and then $75,000 a year for the next 3 or 4 to make the total. So we felt it better to pay it all up front since we've got the money and not have to worry about tracking it from year to year. So that's the offer we made them, and that's the offer they made us back, and I felt pretty good about it.
Did they take any trade-in off them else?
No, I don't think they did. We got some trade-in on our body cams and stuff, but the old tasers that were usually now, they don't even support them anymore.
Okay.
You can't buy replacement parts for them, and you can't buy that taser anymore, so I don't think they would have a need to be able to take those back.
Okay. So this is what come out of the,
Public safety slots.
okay.
Yeah, both these deals are requests out of public safety spots.
Okay.
But the final figure on that is on the second page there. 184,812, is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
And that's a
Guess that's why you
one-time
had,
payment.
that's why you had it so little, so we could get that.
Yeah, that's $18,000, John.
Yeah, really. I've never been able to see that. Brenda had maybe used her glasses. Yeah, I can see it now.
I had to memorize it before I came over here. I knew I couldn't read it.
That's good.
$1,800.
I'm glad you people's gonna have good equipment.
Well, I feel better about it.
Gentlemen, any discussion?
No, sir.
I have none.
All right. I'll ask for a motion to approve $184,812.91 out of public safety spots for the purchase of new tasers. I'll ask for that motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll ask for a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All right.
And I promise that I hope that y'all won't see me again at the end of the year.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
yeah, budget hearings in December is when I hope I'm over here next time.
No, that's September.
About the time you get to thinking you've got, me and Jamie had this conversation the other day, about the time you get to thinking, boy, I've got everything done.
I can't
There
believe-
comes something else.
I know, I can't believe Larry ain't here.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so number 8, we have our Public Works Director, Zach Ratcliffe, regarding the work detail agreement by and between Georgia Department of Corrections and Fannin County.
Can't make it without them.
No,
Those guys, they've been bringing about 10 down, 8 to 10. And, they're making up some time for us. Yeah. Remember what the number is, 50-something thousand, I think it is.
I didn't.
54,249.80.
Oh,
It's on the last page, Johnny, first,
Yeah.
second paragraph there.
And you've been getting roughly 10, 8?
8 to 10, yeah, but they've turned loose quite a few of them now. They've been there for a while. We've get about 3 to 4. And, things are starting, I mean, I'll say it's picking up in business, but, they were turning them loose to let them come out now. They were doing, because of COVID and all this other stuff that's going on, and, they're pretty much a full band when they pull up, so.
well, it's a deal to get that many for that price.
Yeah, I think it was 200 and some dollars a day.
$282.
$282.
Yeah,
And
280, 255.
how many days did they work last year?
Well, like last year, there was, like I said, the COVID, and they had some,
Had some issues at the facility, didn't they?
yeah, it was kind of, they had some time. The
Yeah.
deal is, we do not get charged on them if they're not here. They punch a clock just like the police do out there, so they.
Okay.
Yeah, they work 4 days a week most weeks. It just, now that things are kind of leveling off, they're getting 4 days a weekend, so they're doing great. We're weed eating around our signs, picking up litter, it's sweeping bridges, I mean, they're going after it.
No, I saw some of them.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Okay. How's that paid? What's that paid out of?
That comes out of general fund.
General fund, yeah.
General fund?
Yeah, we can take that as a cost, take it back out. Remember, Johnny, you gotta be able to take it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Gentlemen, any discussion on that?
No, sir.
I have none.
I'll make a motion to enter in an agreement by and between Georgia Department of Corrections and Fannin County, in the amount of $54,249.80 See? Come on, raise your hand, come on up, and tell us where you're from. Go from there.
I'm here representing the Fannin County Public Library Board. As y'all know, it's been many years we've tried to get a new library for the county. And now they're doing construction work over there. It's a reality. And this came about through a lot of starts and stops, a lot of attempts. And it happened because this Board of Commissioners put your efforts into it. And so the Library Board would like to thank you very much for all what you've done. I think in a meeting, I heard our chairman make a statement one time that it was the very best thing for Fannin County. And I believe that's what this new library is, one of the better things for Fannin County that we need. So we'd just like to leave you just a recognition and our thanks for what you all did.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I say it's been a long time coming, very thankful to be
Made
in a
it.
position to make it happen.
Yeah,
So,
made it happen.
it's still, we'd love to walk in it tomorrow, but we know it's not gonna happen. But it's going, it's going. Anyone else? All right, we'll close public commentary. Gentlemen, that brings us to executive session. We do have a need for executive session this evening. If y'all disagree, we'll go from there. I'll make a motion to come out of a regular meeting and go into executive session. I will ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
You gonna take Donnie with you?
Be one of them, put your phones down, pay attention.
All right, gentlemen, I'll make a motion to come out of executive session, go back into our regular meeting. Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So while in the executive session, we discussed, property with no action taken. Gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion to purchase 30 acres in the amount of $700,000. $175,000 will be, of that 700,000 will be donated back to the county. So actual pay, when it's all said and done, will be $525,000. The positive thing about this, it has 2 DNR approved wells, and I believe the cost, it was estimated between $200,000 to $300,000 for those wells. This will allow water expansion in that area. So this
Much needed area.
much needed area.
And also
helps-
fire protection.
Yeah, helps out with fire protection and everything, so, I'll make that motion to, purchase that, and I'll ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?